Hi, Veda. So let's start. We're waiting for audio connect, right? Hello, Veda. Okay, let's discuss about yesterday's concepts once, whatever we have discussed. Veda, am I audible, right?
Yes, Aslam, you're
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Looks Veda is connecting to the audio once again. Veda, if you have an audio issues, you can rejoin again so that we can start the session. Okay, that's fine. I'll start the session. I hope you are hear my voice. Okay. So the last discussion, we were discussed about the presentation layer in RPD, how presentation layer has been created and what are the components which we are used in this presentation layer. So how the folder structure will be there, how we can create the parent folder and subfolders. And we were discussed about and the once all the folders has been created and the subject areas has been created, how we will created the permissions like security concept we were discussed about it. So how subject area level we can provide the permissions to provide an object level security, and we were discussed about to check the SQL query as well, and how the data set level and other objects, permissions and security, everything we were discussed. Now, and we have discussed about the data level security also, and as well as how we can compile it and how we can deploy this RPD into your OS. So today we will discuss more about the variables first. We'll complete the variable concepts and then we can go back to one more concept called for fragmentations. So that is also important concept in RPD. So we'll complete that and we'll go for an OASU data flows the next session. So to comes with the variables. So variables are two types of variables we are having. So basically it's a four types. It's showing a three main types of variables. We have four types of variables are there, but two are the major variables. Those two are repository variables and another one is a session variable. So repository, again, we have two more variables under the repository, that is static and dynamic. And we have already discussed about it, how we can create the static and how we can create the dynamic. Dynamic is nothing but we'll create an installation blockers and those installation blocker will be executed based on your schedule. So once it will be refreshed, that in installation blocker, so it will schedule that SQL query, whatever the installation block you are mentioned. So that variable will be executed. So, and the session variable is nothing but it's each user session variable. It's specific for each, whenever user will logs in, so this session variable will be executed. So the purpose of this, we have two types of variables, system and non-systems. So system, we have these many system variables are available. Those are user is a variable, which is, you can check that which user is logged into that and username details will be comes with the user. So what group is assigned to that user? And okay, okay, is that clear now, Veda? You can confirm your message if you are having any issues with your speaker. Can you confirm again? Okay, great. You can hear, but what about Veda? So Veda, if possible, you can rejoin again and we can continue our session. If you are having any difficulties of, okay, maybe it's a problem with your login again. Can you rejoin again? Okay, we'll wait for Veda's join.
Hello.
Yes, Veda. Now you are audible.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. From beginning you are unable to hear, or it's a problem just now?
From the beginning itself, Aslam.
Oh, fine. Okay. So we have discussed in the yesterday session, right, about the presentation variable, how we can create the presentation variables, and what are the objects and components are used in the presentation layer. So we were discussed about it, right? And now we are discussing more about the variables, and there is one more concept called fragmentations. So these two concepts are very important in RPD. Once these two are completed, right, we can complete the RPD, and then we'll come back to the OAC. Okay. So now I will start with the variables. So as I said yesterday, we have the types of variables, right? Repository variables and the session variables. So repository, again, we have with two types of variables under the repository. So these two are static and dynamic. So static repository variable and dynamic repository variables. So static is nothing but it's a constant value. So whatever the value you want to be give as a static, so those will comes into your static variables. So, and come to the dynamic, it will be refreshed based on your periodically. It's nothing but you can schedule it. The installation block can be refreshed and it will give you the results of your variable. So this is a dynamic variable. Now, we have to discuss about session. We already discussed. Session is nothing but when the user will logs in, right? It will be executed. And there are two types of variables. Session variable. Those are system session variable and non-system session variables. So system session variables are nothing but it's like it will be useful inside your data level security. As I said that there are few system variables. Those are user groups, roles, web groups, display, language, and whatever it is. These are comes with a system variable. This will be useful. Which user is logged in and which group is belongs to what application roles are available for that user. So those information will comes with this system variables, and this system variable will be useful inside your installation blocks. So as I showed you, this user will be using inside the installation block in the last session. Okay. Now comes with non-system variables. These are defined by the admin. So it's nothing but you, and it will be using an installation blocks. So whenever user will be use this, so it will be executed, like it will be executed based on the user logs. So we already discussed about how data level security will be configured and how we can set up this data level security using this non-system session variables. Okay. And and there is one more variable is called as presentation variable. So this is a runtime variable actually, which is useful in your analysis and your dashboard. So this variable will be defined, created in the reporting end, like in your front end, not in the RPD level. So whenever you will call this variable in your reporting level, that will be passed in your analysis. So we will discuss about it, but this is the presentation variable is very, very important variable, which is used in your dashboards. dashboard prompts. Basically, we'll call this in the dashboard prompts. So that's why where we will call via prompts, this variable will be created. Okay. Suppose in your dashboard, you have a variable called some variable name, selected region. So the selected region, how you will pass this? The selected region is underscore of selected region. This is the default value is east. So this variable, whenever you will use this variable in your analysis level, right? It will be passed this and through this variable it will be executed. Like by default, it will be executed as east region, and whenever you will pass that your prompt value, right, that will comes into here. So this something like it will be useful for dynamically filtering, some conditionally formatting, some custom tiles you want to be create. So this presentation variables are useful. So this is about where you can use your variables. Repository is an RPD expression or a filter at column mapping level. Session will be useful your data level security and logical table source content filters, and as well as in your permissions. So presentation is nothing but it will be useful in your dashboard prompts, in your analysis filters, and in your narratives and tiles where you can pass this presentation variable. And this will be useful to change the dynamically whatever you will pass. Suppose there is a requirement, you have a region prompt, and whenever you will select the region prompt, the required prompt details will comes as your heading or your top of your report. So how you can set up? That setup will be happen with the presentation variable. So what you will do, go to your prompt and you will configure, you will set up your presentation variable there, and those will be useful in your section level. Section level is nothing but where your report heading you will be there, right? Your report headings there, you can pass this presentation variable. So whenever you will select the dynamically your prompt, those value will comes into your headings. So this is one example you can call it as using for the presentation variable. So you need to know about installation blocks, right? Since we already discussed, this will be useful in session and dynamic repository variable. This installation blocks will be created. So where you will create, as I showed you, manage your variables, and their variables there, you will have to create a new variable, which is a repository or system variable or a session variable, and create your installation block and pass a SQL query there. Okay. So something like you want to be debug your variables. So how you can debug, like you can go to your log level, you have to set up your log level too. So we need to know about log level. What is a log level? Log level is nothing but to see your logs, your session, your logical log, and as well as your physical logs. So how you can see it in your manage sessions, when you go to your manage sessions and when you view your session, right? You are seeing the uh, two set of like sequels. One is a logical sequel and another one is a physical sequel. So there, how you can see that you have to set up this log level 2 or higher in your nqsconfig.in. So then only you can see these variables. Or you can go to your RPD. So there is also you can set up. So you will set up in two ways actually. It's loading. So maybe I'll reopen again and show you. Okay. So this log level you have to set up in the two ways. It comes with your RPD and as well as in nqconfig.in folder. There you can see that. So whatever the queries will comes into this log, nqquery.log. So we have already discussed about row level security, how we can create your row level security, and that something is useful in your session variables. So this is something very important, like the variables concepts. So, and there is one more variable in OBAEE. So that is a request variable. Request variable is nothing but it's a non-system variable which we are going to be use it in your report level. That is a request variable. Okay. Now we will discuss about the fragmentation. So fragmentations is nothing but the partitions actually. So, so as you know that as a integration resource, you are aware like when you partition your tables into multiple, so it will improve your performance of that load or retrieval. So both. So to improve that, what we will create fragmentations in the RPD. So in simple terms, fragmentation is nothing but it's a BA server how to access different data sources are nothing but a partitions in the table. It's basically on the specific condition. So you will provide the condition such as which region, which time period, and which product category the data will be loaded. Means it's nothing but extracted from your source. So this something it's very important, like useful to improve your performance of your queries. So what will be happen when you want to be extract the data from your products table, but products has having very heavy data, very large amount of data in that. So to extract the data, what you will do, you will go ahead and create your partitions. So partitions will be useful, like it will extract the required data only. So to improve the performance of scoring only related subset of data. So I need only data where comes from calendar only some year level or only for month level. So the subset of data only it will be retrieved. So it supports some partition tables, horizontal sources and data distribution across the sources. So partition tables will be supported from this fragmentation. So basically this will be implemented in the BMM layer. So where you will have a logical table sources. So the same concepts we were discussed yesterday, right? The aggregate tables. So same concepts are for fragmentations also. So aggregate tables also, it will be splitted into multiple tables and you are imported the multiple tables into your physical layer and you will drag those columns into your logical layer where you drag that it will create the multiple logical table sources and from there you can find it out which level it has to be. So how it will be work? It will be work based on the multiple logical table sources. So there is a content filter. So where you will provide your content like what data it has to be extracted. It has to be extract a month data or a year data or a day data. So something like you can hold or you can provide that the content in your fact tables in the BMM layer. So what BA server logic is whenever the query is run right, the BA server evaluate the filters and choose the correct LTS. So I have a 3 LTS. So one is for year, one is for 1 month, and one is for day. So this was I was assigned in the fact level. So whenever I'll run, I will use a month column in my report level. So it will comes to the RPD and check that the user need only the month data, go for a month related content. It's nothing but LTS and it will extract the month related data only to that. Okay. So some of the examples, so imagine like you have a sales data. So sales data, which is comes from the different regions like Europe region and American and Asia. So instead of merging all into one massive table, what you will do, you will create the 3 physical tables in your physical layer. So map them 3 LTS into single logical table like sales. So there you will apply the fragmentation filters. So what filter you will apply? One is region equals to Europe, region equals to America, region equals to Asia. Now, when you are going to be extract like filter, or when you are going to run your reports for which region, like Europe region or America region or Asia region, those data only it will comes. So now when a user filter by region equals to Asia, only Asia sales table will be required for this case. Okay, I hope you understand through this document as well. So how we can configure the fragmentation step by step, it is clearly showing here. You can go to your logical table and add a multiple logical sources. Define the filter, set your fragmentation content, like which content you want to be. It is an Asia or a year. Okay, ensure the column mappings should be there and check the consistency, and then you will check the RPD if any errors will becomes. You have to fix that, and then we have to redeploy this RPD again into the OS or OS. So this is which is important, and as we have already discussed about aggregate navigations, right? It's nothing but your aggregate tables. So there also we'll use the same concepts. Okay. So we have discussed about variables. So under the variables, we were discussed about security also yesterday. So under security, we have used the data level security, right? That's why the variables can come, concepts also comes in. And we discussed about fragmentations. Okay. So entire RPD is done. RPD, whatever the usage of RPD, like how we can develop that RPD, what are the contents will use it, and what are the objects or components we will use it and create the RPD, we were discussed it. I think we have much aware, like in-depthly we have discussed all the concepts of RPD. To revise that RPD concepts, we were discussed about 3 layers, and each layer what are the important concepts also. Physical layer and BMM layer and the presentation. So under the physical, what are the physical objects are there? BMM, what are the BMM objects are there? And presentation, what are the presentations are there? Presentation objects which we are using, and what subject area will useful to create a data sets and as well as your reports and dashboards. So as you know that the same approach will use for semantic layer also. But semantic layer is a lightweighted one. There are few limitations in the semantic layer which we cannot achievable few of data level and as well as these fragmentation concepts. Few limitations are there, but moreover hierarchies and level-based measures and as well as all are creating the subject areas and everything will be covered in the semantic layer also. So there is no much differences here, but the semantic layer is a lightweighted one which is useful in your online, like with the URL, it will be created as same as how you can create your data flows. So that's why RPD is the key and which is important when you connecting to your database. So once an RPD will be created, once all the subject areas has been available, so using those subject areas, you will start creating your analysis, your data sets, and as well as using that analysis will create your dashboards. So now we'll comes to the OAC again. We'll discuss about few concepts in OAC and we'll go back to OAS and we'll discuss few concepts in OAS. But today we'll discuss comes with the OAC. So as you know that in OAC, we were discussed few concepts like how we can create the data set and how we can use and clone and prepare the data sets. So once the data set has been prepared, has been available, using the data set, how we can schedule it, how we can refresh your data set, reload the data set. Once the data set is reloaded and available, so using the data set, you can go ahead and create the workbook. And as well as using the data set also, we can create a dashboard as well. The need for the dashboard here. So whenever you are you already create the workbook, but what is the need to create the dashboard? So there are some limitations in workbook. You cannot leverage all the features of OAS in OAC workbook. So what options which are not available? Like you can't utilize your session variables. You can't utilize your presentation variables widely. And as well as you can't utilize few of the options called exports. So what options, like you can't export entire workbook. So that's something which is comes in the future versions. They are adding those options like exporting the versions, but now there is an option like one visualization level you can export it, where you have only the view is tabular view. So that's why the work that's data visualization workbook is more into the visualization purpose. So you can handle, you can play around with your metadata, you can drag and drop using some few hints, and as well as the good visualization which is comes with your OAC, you can create it. But you cannot create all other options. Like in your dashboard, there is called a dashboards, and in the dashboard page, you can include your BA publisher reports as well. So in one place, you will merge your dashboard analysis and as well as your BA publisher reports as well. Suppose you have a requirement, you have to comes in 2 pages or 3 pages, you have to show your BA publisher reports, and other pages you have to show your other analysis like dashboard pages, which comes with your requirement. So to fulfill that requirement fulfillment, so what we will go for it, we'll go for an OAS option. So that's why OAC and OAS differences are OAC is main for data visualization purpose, OAS, which is the on-premises version of your OBAE. Okay, now we'll discuss about data flow. So what is a data flow is, it's a powerful feature which is useful to create nothing but you prepare your data flow, transform your data, and as well as enrich your data before using your analysis or dashboards. So think that way. If it's a data flow is a visible step-by-step process to share your data, like an ETL process, like extract, transformation, and load. So same approach, we can extract it, we can filter it out, we can clone it out, whatever the data which has to be loaded into your target, you can load it using this data flows. And there are other options also there, which are added that you can use an AI/ML modules. So to leverage those, we will discuss about data flows first, and later we'll go and check that what are the modules are available in the data flows. So basically, this data flow in OAC will be used for cleans your data, like remove some duplicates, handling some null values, to join the multiple data sets, driven some new columns, aggregate the data, like making some aggregate, like using some and count and etc. Applying some ML models, some like predictive analysis, and as well as save this transformed data into new data sets, or write it back to your database also. So this is a reusable and scheduled component, which is which is useful, like making an automated data preparation as well. So that's why this data flow is, which is useful, like you can leverage this integration level work also. It will be comes with the data flows. Typically, you will have the two different sources. One source is comes from a different database, and another source is come from external. So if it is a relationship between different database and the external data source, so you can provide the join and and move it to the target data set. So what are the components in the data flow? We have an input data set and we have a data preparation steps. So under the data preparation, you can add more columns, filters, rename the columns, change the data types, join or append the data sets, group and aggregates, and also we can apply some models, predictive and forecast sales and everything. What is our output set? Output set is nothing but you can create a new data set also, or you can write back some results to your database if it is connected to your database. Okay. Now I'll come to the demo part. I'll open that and I'll show you the data flows. Okay. So the demo part we were discussed about in the previous sessions, like we know it how to create the data workbook, how to create the data sets. So before creating the workbook, we need a data set as a source. So we need to select the source of data for the metadata, which data we have to use, metadata we have to use to create the workbook. Now there is this other option called data flow. So when you want to be create a data flow, right? You need to be add your source data first. So here you will have you can use a source of your data set as well, like as a source, or you can create your new data sets also. Suppose I'll use the sources sample order lines. So whenever I'll use this, right, you can see that it will added here and it is providing some information about my data set, and it is comes with some of the column names. So you can see that what are the columns are there. So if I don't want this column, you simply uncheck that column. It will not consider in your data flow. So you can see some selection. So I have these many selections. Now I just uncheck it. So the selection count is decreased to 24. So here in the below, it's the same data set in the joint diagram, how we can see some sample data, right? The same sample data, we can see that what are the columns and what are the data is available here. So in your left, you can see two options. One is the data and other one is data flow steps. So the data, you will see that whatever the file, the Excel or CSV file which are used, the underlying columns, the metadata which are available here. So if you go to the next step, you will see some options. I see add data, I see the join, union rows, filters, and aggregate save data. Now I can use this directly to drag and drop here, which I can use it. So if I don't want this, I can remove this step. I can go ahead and just click this plus. I have the other options. So I can see some options are available here. I have a join diagram. I can have a filter. I can see that aggregates. I can see the save data. So there are other options called, you can add some columns, select some columns, rename the columns, change your data types. So you can play with that. So there are other machine learning modules. You can see that predefined modules which are available. Train numeric predictions, the multi-classifier, binary classifier, clustering, and custom model. You can apply your custom script as well. So this data flow can be scheduled. You can use scheduling also, this can be executed. So as same as how you can execute your load plans in your ODA, right? So same way we can schedule here. So now I am just adding a filter. So here I just wanted to add only the city. So I just need only these cities data. Now I'll go ahead and save the data into a new data set. Mhm. And here you can see that you can change. Suppose this is lines, you can change to the measures. This can be changed to the measure because as you know that these are the count columns. So here you will see that the aggregation, default aggregation, it comes as count. You want to be change it, count district, you can change it. So the based on that, you can see some measures which are comes with the default as sum. So once everything is ready, you can go ahead and save your data flow. Once the data flow is ready, you can go ahead and run your data flow directly. So whenever it will be run, the futures and everything will be run with the backend, and it will load it the data into your new data set. So you can cancel this. You can go back also. You can go to your data, and here in your data flows, the data flow will comes here, and you can see that the status. So here I have a column like options called. You can run this. You can open this. You can do a scheduling also. So at what time it has to be run, and everything, the scheduling details we can provide here. So you can just go ahead and run this. So it will be show you the running status. Now it was failed. So you see that so now we can understand like it why it was failed. We'll go to open this and go to that. So it was run and it was completed. Now this data set has been created. So you can go ahead and check your data sets. So this city sample data set has been created. So without adding this, you can go ahead and create this also. You can see this and you can go to your joint diagram. You can see this, your city. And when you edit this definition, you will see this information about. Okay. So it's a simple way. You can go ahead and create your data flows. And using the data flows also, you can make a change and you can add a multiple options called. You can do your transform. You can do your enrich your data and create your target data sets.
So, Aslam, I have a doubt here.
Yes, Veda.
Once you create your data, in that one, if we create the data set here, instead of directly we are taking from the subject areas. For example, if we are taking like subject area from the RPD as a data set. Instead of that, we are taking the data and we are just preparing our own data set through the data flow, right? By using the
Correct.
filters and all the things here.
Correct. You can leverage like other external sources data also. So I use other external sources data as CSV file as an Excel file.
Okay.
So I can go ahead and provide the joins, and then I can filter it out, and whatever the data I need at target data set, you can put it the data.
Okay. So here the data, whatever the data we are selecting, right? I mean, before that, here in the top we have a data option here. Right to the left to the, yeah, this one. This is the data from the direct DB, or we are just importing the data from the DB,
No,
or we are having this one.
no, this is comes from your external sources. So I have a data set already exist. This is an external data set. This is an Excel data which are
Mm,
uploaded into your
yeah.
DB. So
Okay.
whenever
So
you go to this data set, right?
yeah.
So you will see that when you edit this, you can see that the description of that from where this file is uploaded.
Yeah.
You can upload the file directly.
Hmm. So I mean, we will be create. I mean, the data flows will be created only from the external sources one.
Not. It will be created in the different ways. You can utilize, you can leverage, like suppose you have created a multiple data sets. One
Okay.
data set is comes from a external sources. One
Okay.
data set is comes from the subject area.
Yeah.
And you have a relationship with this one data set and another data sets also. So what you will do, you will go ahead and create a data flow and utilize some of the data preparation steps and go ahead and load it into one data set.
Okay, so the data flow is simply like we integrating multiple data sets into the one data set by using the data flows, by using multiple
Yeah,
filters
you
which are
can call
available.
that. You can
Okay.
call that, or
Mhm.
you can not only the data sets, you can utilize as a source. Suppose you have a connection here. So here you can add, like whenever you create your data sets, right? Data flow. So it will ask you that not only the data sets, it will ask you a subject area details, and also it will ask you a DB connection also.
Okay, so I mean, if we connect with if we connect with one schema of that one DB, if within that DB, if we are having a multiple tables over there, so that we can use that multiple tables. By using these filters, we can just join those multiple tables and we can just create one data set on that one.
Yes, that's also there. That one option also is there,
Okay.
but we don't have that connection, right? That's why I'm unable to see you. But yes, we can create a connection and we can extract that schema, and you can add those tables into your data flow, and you can go ahead and provide the joins and load it into one data set.
Okay. 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 Same
So
like an
that's a good approach. Like you can utilize, like instead of going to back to the integration or
Mhm.
in any ETL tool, you can
Mhm.
utilize this and you can load it your data into your data sets. So
Oh,
so
okay.
moreover, you will create a data set as a final data set, because you know, right? Data set is our source for our workbook and dashboards.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So
Okay.
in that way, we'll create it and will you leverage this all the options. Like not only for these options, you can utilize some ML, like my ML modules also. So these are some ML modules which are available, like train numeric predictions, multi-classifier, clustering. So these are much aware, like much advanced concepts which are useful, and you can apply your custom script also. Using that custom script also, you can execute the data flow, and you can prepare your data flow, and then you can load it into your one data set. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
So this is about data flow. So, and this is much important concepts also. But before that, as I told you, right, we need to be know more about data sets. So because these data sets are very, very important when you're creating your workbooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So tomorrow we'll discuss more about few OAS concepts. So we'll
Okay.
go to the OAS as well. So those
Sure.
are very important. Like OAS will be useful to understand your dashboards whenever you created your subject areas, right? How we can create an analysis and dashboards. So that's something we'll go ahead and understand those concepts, and we'll come with the OAS finally, OEC finally, and we'll discuss whatever the concepts we were discussing in this session.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Veda. I think we are good with today. So we will discuss the rest of the concepts in the tomorrow session.
Sure, Aslam. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.